The Gospel of Mark, 7th chapter, beginning at the first verse. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except that they wash their hands off, eat not, holding to the traditions of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots and brazen vessels, and of the tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the traditions of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said unto them, Well hath Isaiah prophesied of you, hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoreth me with their lips, but their hearts is far away from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Let me read that again. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandments of the Most High, ye hold the traditions of men, as washing of pots and cups, and many other such things like ye do. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of the Most High, that ye may keep your own traditions. For Moses said, Honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, It is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of the Most High of none effect through your traditions, which ye have delivered, and many such like things ye do. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. And if any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it entered not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the draught, purging all meat. And he said, That which cometh out of a man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, and foolishness. All these things come from within and defile the man. Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. It's your brother DL, Elder Youngman, for those that follow online. And the name of tonight's message is What Defileth the Man? What defileth the man? So, brothers and sisters, these last few messages have been dedicated towards the idea of, number one, bringing men into the understanding of what it is that the Most High has given us. Bringing into understanding the fact that the tragedy of how it is that we regard his breath that he's given us. I hear a lot of talk on here about Esau, who he is and isn't. But what you have to understand about Esau, regardless of who you think he is, he received the breath of the Most High. And with that breath, he chose wickedness. He chose to follow Nimrod's ways. So brothers and sisters, that's why the Father hated him, and that's why the Father turned away from our nation, the nation of Israel. We received the breath, we received the blessing, we received the power, we received the Ruach, we received all of these gifts from the Most High. We were His image on the earth. We were the people that He entrusted with His ministry. We are a nation of priests, or we were a nation of priests before our fathers stripped us of that. The other nations were supposed to come to the Israelites to be introduced to Him. We were His envoy. We were supposed to be His standard. And brothers and sisters, I don't think I can put it into words. The weight of our fall and why it is that it is so abhorrent that we fell after receiving the breath of the Most High. So the next message dealt with coming back into right relationship with the Most High, valuing the things that He values, and understanding how it is to draw nearer to Him and to right your relationship with Him. Loving righteousness, loving good things, loving peace and love. All of these things are of His nature, and all of these things were forsaken by our ancestors. And then the last message, brothers and sisters, spoke on how to know, because there's too many of us out here that still have questions about what the Scripture has been very clear about telling us about knowing a person by their fruit, about what they do, the words that they speak, the things that you see manifesting around them. If you see just misery and starvation manifesting around them, that's the fruit that they produce. And a good tree is not going to produce fruit that's foul. So brothers and sisters, the last message was a call for those that sincerely want the Most High to believe their eyes. Don't be swayed by the words of some of these false prophets, some of these Negroes, some of these pimps, some of these predators out here in the community. And they're there, and you can see them. And the Scripture is clear about how to see them. It's in their fruit. Believe your eyes. That's a dog. That is a man. That is not a child of the Most High. So that's been the focus of the last three messages. Valuing what we have. Valuing and rebuilding our relationship with the Most High. And then looking at the things that you see in the community and judging them. Yeah, I said it. A repentant person that's guarding his light, guarding his soul, and guarding his peace has to judge the fruit of others. You can't evaluate fruit without coming to a judgment on whether it's good or bad, brothers and sisters. So don't let them pimps run that on you. So tonight's message, what defileth a man? We're going over the words of the Messiah. We're going over the words of Yahusha HaMashiach. We're going over the discourses that he had with the Pharisees, the foulest of the foul, the Pharisees and the scribes. And I love how my brother deals with them. I love how my brother really does not mince words when it comes to them. He had like X-ray vision when you read it in the Gospels. When the Messiah would deal with a Pharisee or the scribes, he already knew what it was that they were approaching him for. The first word that he would use is hypocrite. And see, the difference between a liar and hypocrite is it's an exponential sort of a difference. It's like a lying to the third or fourth power, where basically you embody the lie, you believe the lie, you live the lie. You see, the Pharisees would be comparable to people today that are accused of gaslighting other people. And basically, the word hypocrite, what it means is that you're not actual. You are a walking, talking lie. To be a person that's not genuine, a person that's deceptive, a predator, basically looking to feed somehow on those that are seeking the Most High. And I don't think there's anything that's as foul, that's as low as that. So they see the crowds and they see that the people are listening to the words that he says, and their entire reason or logic for approaching this man is the crowds. They want to manipulate the crowds. They want the crowds to leave him and then come follow them into their mess, when they know that they're cooking up schemes. They're preying on people that are trying to find the Most High. And the first thing that the Messiah does is he points them out as hypocrites. And then the next thing that he does is he begins to teach the people on what defileth the man, or dirtieth the man. So let's look up the word defiled. So the word defile means to corrupt the purity or perfection of, to violate the chastity or virginity of, to make physically unclean, especially with something unpleasant or contaminating, to violate the sanctity of, to desecrate, to sully, dishonor. So what the Messiah is saying to these Pharisees, these officials of the church, is that they're dirtied, they are defiled, they're unclean, they have been deflowered of any sort of purity, they're corrupt, kind of like a vampire or a werewolf. And he didn't say to them, look, you a liar, look, you lying, and stop. No, he said full well, you deny the commandment of the Most High. Because brothers and sisters, look, what was pointed out in the scripture about it is Corbin, that's a scheme. That's a scheme that these Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes were running on the people to get their children into the service of the temple. And in Samuel's time, it was agreed. Samuel's parents dedicated him to the service of the temple, and in return, the temple would either allow that child to go and to take care of his parents in his old age, or the temple would pick up the expenses for that child's parents in their old age. And what the Messiah is pointing out here is that you suffer a child, you lead them to the place where they aren't even honoring the commandment. You lead them into damnation. So you have to understand that there's a spirit on the inside of the defiled. There's a spirit on the inside of them that wants to feed on what it is that people are trying to hide away to keep for the Most High, looking to mislead. And they do that by tweaking the doctrine, making it their own doctrine, what they want, what serves them. And it is that filth, that nastiness, that wickedness is what defileth the man. When his speech is intended to lead the children of the Most High astray. I don't even need to tell you that there's scripture on what happens when you do that. And that is what defileth the man, and that's what you see out here today. Matthew 18 chapter 6 verse reads, But whosoever shall cause one of these little ones who believe in me to fall, it is better for him that a millstone were hung about his neck and that he was drowned in the depth of the sea. The fact that you cannot see the gravity of what you do when you do that, it tells you that you are under bondage. You are a night creature. You're just like a vampire. You got a sickness. And that's what the Messiah is saying here. Those men that do that, they're defiled. They're night creatures. They're not men. Just like a vampire, it has to feed. And what you see going on out here today, brothers and sisters, especially in an arena as wicked as Facebook, is you see that these same spirits are lurking around on the internet, just like they were lurking around, following the Messiah around all of Jerusalem. The whole time that he was in his ministry, there were scoffers. So look, and he said this and many other things. So it wasn't just that, he was just making an example. And what he was saying to them is that, look, I can see into your spirit. I can see into your soul that you're a predator. I can see by the way that you make discussions. I can see by the way that you roll up on me that you are a predator, that you are under this idea that what you say, the truth doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is to add to yourself, to keep getting somehow. Now, if that pattern of behavior sounds familiar, it should. What we have to consider is just who it was that the Messiah was speaking to, just who these people were that called themselves scribes and Pharisees, that were following the Messiah around, looking to kill him, looking to discredit him, looking to try to make sure that the people didn't follow him or get the message that he was trying to put out. The book of Maccabees tells us what the state of the temple was during our Messiah's time. Edom, Esau's people, the descendants of Ishmael and fallen Hebrews are what made up the temple, the Pharisees, the scribes. These were mostly Edomites. These were mostly the descendants of Esau, Ishmael, and then those of the Israelite seed that would follow in a fallen way. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the message, there's a reason that the Most High hated Esau. Esau was every bit as much Hebrew as an Israelite. The word Hebrew, or the name Hebrew, simply means a descendant of Heber. So there are many flavors of Hebrew. There's Hebrew Ishmaelites, there's Hebrew Edomites, there's Hebrew Israelites. Brothers and sisters, he received everything that his brother Yaakov received, and he chose the way of the flesh. He chose the way of the world. He did not value his birthright, and he full well rejected the way of the Most High. And see, this gives dimension to these discourses that wasn't there before. Because of the history and the lineage of our Messiah, they already had an ingrained hate for him. So that nature that exists inside of Esau had been there since his birth. The book of Jasher, 28th chapter, beginning at the 18th verse. At that time, Isaac sent his younger son Jacob to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of the Most High. And Jacob remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years, and Esau his brother did not go. for he was not willing to go. And he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And Esau was continually hunting in the fields to bring home what he could get. So did Esau all the days. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man. Read that again. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. The word inveigled, that word has many synonyms: to cajole, to wheedle, to coax, to persuade, to convince, talk, tempt, lure, allure, entice, ensnare, seduce, flatter, beguile, dope, fool, sweet talk, soft soap, butter up, twist someone's arm, con, bamboozle, sucker, or blandish. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. And Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt, and he came as far as the field of Seir. The same is Edom. So look, brothers and sisters, what's being broken out here is a way. Rebecca, when she described her pregnancy, she said that Jacob and Esau, from the time that they were conceived, fought in the womb. And the two nations that existed were the same two nations that there's always been. There's been Satan's kingdom, which is the kingdom of Babylon, and the nation that Jacob was later named Israel, or the Father's kingdom. And that's why they were back and forth, brothers and sisters. And that's where this wickedness comes from. And what the Messiah is telling the people when he just went first, he tells first he tells these scribes and Pharisees who were of the bloodline of Esau is, look, y'all are fake, y'all are hypocrites, you don't have any business being up in the temple. But then he turned from them and he said, look, so that you know, people, so that you can understand what's being done to you, what defileth a man is not what goes into him, but what comes out of his mouth. The things that they speak and the reason that they're speaking. That situation with the servitude that they were stealing from these people that were coming to the service of the temple, what they did is they cajoled them, they coaxed them, they persuaded them, they tempted them, they lured them, they seduced them out of the way of the Most High, when they should have known that to honor mother and father is a commandment. So when these Edomites, when these scribes and Pharisees, when they spoke, the reason for their speech, the root of their speech is what should have told any person hearing them that these are defiled men. What they wanted was them to be out of the way of the Most High and to allow them to push their own doctrines, their own commandments. They essentially wanted these people to worship them, not the Most High. Because as you can see in the reading, Esau had no time. He was not interested in the ways of the Most High. He was not interested in his birthright until he lost it, brothers and sisters. And see, brothers and sisters, for all the talk that these people do, that we see online about hating Esau, about, Esau the white man and all this sort of stuff, they miss the fact that when they lie, that when they cajole, when they wheedle, when they coax, when they persuade, convince, when they lure, when they do all these things for the purposes of getting, whether it's money, whether it's sex, whether it's whatever it is, when they twist the scriptures of the Most High, they show that they're defiled creatures. They're not even men, brothers and sisters. They act just like the people that they claim to hate. That should tell you that there's an issue, that there's something going on, that there's something broken on the inside of you. And see, when you come to that point, that's when you need to know that it's not about pride. It's not about insulting nobody. It's not about how many scriptures you can look at. It's all about getting yourself on your knees and begging the Most High to break that defilement up off you. You see, the Pharisees and the Sadducees wouldn't do that. The Pharisees and the Sadducees did finally get to the point where they were able to work out the murder of the Messiah. The Pharisees and the Sadducees, after they did that, sat there and watched Rome come in and sack Jerusalem. The Pharisees and Sadducees then took their ashy behind to Babylon. The Pharisees and the Sadducees then wrote the Babylonian Talmud. The Pharisees and the Sadducees then moseyed their treacherous behind up into Khazaria. The Pharisees and the Sadducees from that point died in the midst of the Gentiles who they loved. They were defiled, and they could not even see that they were going and mingling themselves with not just heathen, not just Gentiles, not just angel babies, the filthiest phallic worshipers that the world has ever known. The Khazarians, the ones that call themselves Jewish right now, is where this defiled set of people took themselves. And because they were defiled, the Most High gave them up. And they didn't even see it coming, what they were doing. So brothers and sisters, look, what defileth the man? What defileth the man is not just the filth on the inside of him, not just the idea that you shun the way of the Most High, but when you speak in such a way as to mislead others, when you speak in such a way as to inveigle, as to cajole, to entice, to butter up. Essentially, when you're a witch or a warlock and you speak deceptively, with the idea of feeding on the light that you may see a sense on the inside of somebody. I make a lot of references to what you see in the lores of vampires, because brothers and sisters, what you see going on out here in the community, this is literally night creatures, vampires, werewolves, where they attach themselves to the light source that's on the inside of people, and they feed on that life that's on the inside of them. And worse than that is that they create other night creatures, brothers and sisters. And that's why the Messiah turned from those defiled men and he began to speak to the people about how to protect themselves from these night creatures. What defileth the man is not what he eats. It's what he speaks. It's what comes out of his heart. And the intent that's behind what he speaks. Is he trying to take from you something that you've set aside to be precious to the Most High? Is he trying to take your peace? Is he trying to take your body? Is he trying to take your money? And vice versa, brothers and sisters. Is she coming at you and wanting you just to spill seed with her with no kind of idea or no kind of intent of living a righteous life? Brothers and sisters, look, what defileth the man is the intent to pull other men out of the way of the Most High. That's what these scribes and Pharisees were doing, and they were doing it to serve their own fleshly desires. And we see that every single day. Every day that you turn on your computer and you log in and you look at all this stuff going on out here with these supposed Hebrews, brothers and sisters, you have to guard your soul and your spirit against those that are defiled. And they show you that they're defiled. All you have to do is reconcile their behavior against the way of the Most High and be honest with yourself about what it is that you see. So brothers and sisters, look, the reason for even being on here, because I'm telling you right now, I got other stuff I could be doing. But the Father has told me, the Father has shown me that outside of everything that's going on, outside of what you gonna start to see as this place deteriorates, what's more important than the preparations? What's more important than having some bullets and some beans and some rice and being out of the city and all of those things that aren't necessary? What's more important is that you are not defiled. That what's coming out of your heart and out of your mouth does not defile you, because a bomb and a bullet and starvation will only bring you to the first death. But what you speak, those words coming out of your mouth, those intentions behind the word to lie for your own gratification, things that you know better because you got the breath on the inside of you, those things will bring you to the second death, which is the real death. And brothers and sisters, look, you can ignore me all you want. You can turn this off. You can not look at the page. You can do whatever it is that you feel like doing, because I'm just a man. I can be ignored. But what's coming next, you're not going to be able to ignore that. You're not going to be able to ignore what comes next. So brothers and sisters, that's my 30 minutes. As always, I love you all. Shalom.